7'7", 280 pounds, averaged over 2 blocks a game for his career in college, and gave the #1 pick in this year's draft fits during their lone matchup. Well, he's definitely a lottery pick, right? Unfortunately not. Shocking to most, he wasn't even drafted, and here's why. Elhaji TACKO Sirinye Diop Fall, born December 10th, 1995. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth. Eshkere. Reason number 1, Word Up, Source, XXL, Vibe, Slam, Right On, and the Sports Illustrated. What are these? Well, these were the top hip-hop and sports magazines of the 1990s, a time when Notorious B.I.G., Michael Jordan, Hulk Hogan, Shaq, Alonzo Mourning would be regulars to grace the cover. It was a time in basketball vastly different than what it is today. Big men were a dime a dozen and flourishing in a back-to-the-basket, slow-it-down era. Hakeem Olajuwon had all the time in the world to jog up the floor, pick his post-up spot, and hit his defender with a classic dream shake, followed by oohs and ahs. You had Dikembe Mutombo out here swatting shots left and right, followed by his classic showboating finger wag, the most popular finger in the history of the game. You had the classic Barkley-Shaq matchups and the matchup most looked forward to in the Ewing and Olajuwon. The 90s was lit in the post, and most teams coveted a big that was tall, strong, could block shots, and manage the paint. No one really cared about a big being quick, agile, or able to step out and pick and pop. You say the words pick and pop to most 90s bigs, and they'll think you're talking about an afro or some soda or some shit. A vastly different time than you have now. Ask DeAndre Jordan what a pick and pop is, and he'll say something like, something I can't do, but I know what it is. But ask DeAndre Ayton or Dirk Nowitzki or Joel Embiid, and they'll have a totally different answer. Today's bigs are well equipped for this era, and TACKO Fall simply isn't built for it. Today's game is fast, which he's not. Today's game has bigs that can stretch the floor, which he can't. And today's bigs are expected to play the majority of the games on the schedule, which there's a good chance he can. Had he entered in the 90s or early 2000s, he'd be perfect, but that's not the case. Reason number 2, can't touch this. I think NBA GMs were just too scared to touch a prospect like Fall. The enormously tall big couldn't even last in the early 2000s health-wise, when the game was much slower. What makes a GM think they'll last now, when teams all play like their coach is Mike D'Antoni, fast and shoot 'em up? I personally don't see a big of his stature and weight lasting the course of a full NBA season. At least a guy like Bol is slimmer and light-footed. He can also step out and be lights out from 3, and we all seen him even slip to the end of the second round. The last time we saw a big man of his size in the NBA was Yao Ming, and we saw how his injury-riddled career turned out. And that wasn't even the rigorous schedule and pace of today. Fall is just a scary prospect to approach, and I get why he slid in the draft. There was just too great a risk in him being injured and becoming a wasted investment and hassle. I mean, you know how hard it is to cater to a guy his size? He needs like 4 aisles to himself on the team plane. Size 20 shoes? He needs his own personal assistant to carry just his shoe bag. Not to mention the money spent on MRIs and checkups on his body to keep him healthy. It's just not that attractive when a guy is already out of era and can break down on you at any time. Reason number 3, how committed are you? I remember in the 8th grade, there was a girl in our class we called the Horse. Yeah, I know it's weird, but shit, that was the best way we could explain what her body was like. We'd be in the hallway like, yo, you seen the Horse today? Damn. Let's just say she got her features at a very early age, but we all knew she was just out of our league, and so while it was fun to look and talk about her, we never thought of approaching until one day she approached. We talked and began a relationship. During the course of our 2 weeks together, I could feel she just wasn't that into me, and maybe her heart was somewhere else. I mean, I didn't know what to do with all that, admittedly. So we both decided it was best to move on. I just don't think TACKO has his heart into the sport. You see, Fall is an outstandingly intelligent person that averaged a 4.0 through his high school career and college, and scored in the 95th percentile on his SATs. A computer science major with dreams of working for Microsoft. He could care less about a future and fight for an NBA spot, a spot that probably won't last very long anyway. Fall is completely fine with a non-athletic life, and I commend him for that. I do think if I noticed this, teams did as well. And the last thing you want from a big that outdated and possibly injury prone is a guy that doesn't have his heart 100% invested. He was signed to the Celtics after going undrafted to a one-year deal, so we'll see how he does. I wish him all the best in whatever he chooses to do in life, man. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.